That's a lot to admit. On this podcast. I hope you get treatment. Stay safe. So this is what, episode 8? Is this episode 9? This episode 8.
It was also a special episode.
A special Christmas special.
I hope not.
Well, we can actually. Well, we weren't not saying his name anyway, were we?
No,
Before.
yeah. I mean, yeah, we're not the press, so.
Yeah, we've been ahead of the curve here. But Jonathan Yaniv or Yaniv, do you know what it is?
I don't fucking care.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
He doesn't deserve a respect. You can call him just like wax my balls for all I care.
Wax my balls, Jonathan, aka Jessica Yaniv. Special.
Yes.
Which doesn't sound super exciting, but God, this guy's weird.
He's definitely special.
He's definitely special.
So yeah, this episode is just going to be discussion of Jonathan Yaniv and, what the fuck is going on with this? Because we need to get to the bottom of this. I just don't understand, what his deal is, and we're gonna try and finally hash it out for real. Our very first episode was about Yaniv because he's the real biggest story in radical feminism right now, or the gender war rather, right now, besides I guess sports, but it's
well, he's just the poster child for everything that radical feminists had said could happen with these laws, with creepy men invading women's spaces and the law being on the side of the creepy man.
Right. But it's so on the nose is the main problem with Yaniv.
It's almost unbelievable.
That we must really get to the bottom of this. It's just too on the nose to be true. So that's why you would think, as you've said before, that he is trolling.
Well, I mean, when I said he was trolling, I didn't mean that he also wasn't sincere in some part of it. I mean, this is a person with a personality disorder, just to start with, and probably many psychiatric disorders beneath that. But I think this is a person who is willing to lie, and willing to lie to themselves even. I mean, we are dealing with a crazy person, but I mean, I would argue that serial killers are crazy people. It's being crazy. We have to end the stigma on assuming that crazy people are dangerous, but that doesn't mean that crazy people can't be super fucking fucked up and dangerous.
Right, but it's I'm not even sure what personality disorder this guy is supposed to have. I mean, is it one that makes his transness real? Is he some kind of misogynist sociopath? Both? It's just he's just a tough fucking nut to crack here, and that's what.
Well, yeah, and neither of us
try and do here.
Neither of us are, experts in psychological disorders. With the human rights tribunals, and I can't imagine that anybody doesn't know what we're talking about at this point, but Yaniv sued 16 or more than
16.
12 women, female estheticians, because they denied him ball waxing services because they only deal with women. And at least 5 of their businesses, 5 of them have had to close their businesses. Some of them paid out really big settlements because they didn't want to deal with the Human Rights Tribunal or didn't feel like they could. And some of the other cases have actually been happening in the last week or so. And there's a woman, I don't remember her name, but Elsie, I think, has been posting, has been going to these Human Rights Tribunal case, hearings, and has been reporting on them. So we do have some further insight into Yaniv through what he's been saying in these hearings, and then also his crazy mom. That's like a new angle in this, and trying to crack this nut. Like, the mom seems absolutely fucking bonkers too. Maybe more so.
But like, go over some of the mom stuff, because I only really know about the time where she showed up with Yaniv to that pageant and took pictures of those girls.
Right. Yeah, it's weird because we never really heard anything about the mom and all of Yaniv's stuff, and then all of a sudden she just starts showing up, like, all the time. Like, like all of a sudden she's at this pageant with Yaniv and then is showing up to these court cases. It sounds like they might live together. I'm not totally sure. Yaniv has been claiming to have all these different health problems.
Yes.
Like, which are changing all the time.
This is nuts. This part.
And so, like, Miriam, his mother, is, like, insisting that he's, like, dying.
Oh no. During oh no, whatever will we do?
The hearing. And is like, and even Yaniv is like, no, I'm fine. But she is, like, making these huge scenes and, like, calling ambulances in the middle of the hearings that show up. Yeah, and check on Yaniv. And she just sounds like such a psycho. It's hard because, like, I mean, Twitter is, like, not the best place for, like, reporting on stuff like this, because you're just looking at, like, hundreds of tweets, because this woman's, like, taking notes on everything, and so when she comes back and reports, like a stenographer. Yeah, she's like our TERF stenographer. But Jonathan Yaniv has expressed a lot of negative opinions towards immigrants.
Right.
But then has recently, in one of the last hearings, claimed that that it was all his mom, and that it was his mom tweeting from his account.
Oh, fuck off.
And he's also claimed that he's getting, like, hate messages, and that...
Gee, I wonder why.
He actually brought up the... that they said they're not going after Morgan Auger anymore because he's a better LGBT activist or something. Like, it's just total bullshit. God. He sent himself a hate mail message. Like,
oh, is that proven?
I don't think it's proven, but I just don't believe. There's just no way. I mean, should I read it?
Yeah, I want to hear it.
All right, audience, you tell us. All right. So the hate mail message was, it cuts off, but we have some of it. I'm coming to get you with all of my fascist friends. The only thing stopping us from destroying you in a hate crime rampage is that our panzers are currently being tuned up. But be warned! The American Nazi Party, the KKK, and the Young Republicans are all coming after you right now. So be on your guard, Jonathan. The destruction of LGBT rights starts with you. A wheelchair can't outrun a tank, Jonathan, so keep your eyes peeled. ...
He's not in a wheelchair.
Okay, no, but he is, but we'll get to that.
Oh, okay. Oh no. All right.
You have been a thorn in our side for too long, ... You're always fighting hard for LGBT rights and making too much progress. It can't be allowed. We will allow Auger to exist for now, but you have grown too powerful.
That's, like, not even, like, close to real.
It's...
the Young Republicans? That sounds like some Chris Chan shit, yo.
I mean, it's like... It sounds like somebody is, like, writing some, like, fan fiction about, like, it just has this very, like, childish, like, you good guys are too good. Like,
It's
where
like...
bad guys know they're bad.
Uh-huh.
It's so crazy. And just the whole, like, we will allow Auger to exist for now, but you have grown too powerful.
Like, what?
Like...
No, what?
You have been a thorn in our side.
He hasn't done anything.
Long.
He hasn't done anything. The only, like, activism, I mean, I guess you can call this fucking, what he's doing right now, activism. Oh, shit. Is this, like, some kind of, like, avant-garde activism?
We can ask.
Oh, my God. Wow. Oh, jeez. Wow. That almost makes me think that this is... maybe even sincere at this point.
See, I mean, okay, I think it's sincerely... it's hard to... I feel like maybe I'm not... Like, I don't think that this is a person who doesn't want to get into women's spaces, but wants to prove a point. I think he absolutely wants to be in women's spaces. But I also think that he is such a narcissist that he believes he has this right, and he enjoys inflicting pain on others. And so he enjoys watching us get up in arms. That's what I meant by him being a troll. Like, I think he really believes that he deserves to be there, but he enjoys seeing us all get up in arms and be helpless against him. Like, I don't think he sees other people as, like, fully human. They're just obstacles. Like, this is a narcissist.
I think there's, like, almost... Like, there's a little bit more to it than that. Like, I would say that's definitely the case, but he's also, like, is displaying, like, activist narcissism.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Sure. Like...
I know everybody thinks, like, I think that's, like, one of the main things that, like, I guess you get from, like, being older and just having more experiences with people. But I feel like a lot of LGBT activists are really young and have a very, like, good guy versus bad guy mentality that they think that, like, that they think almost in that same kind of frame of mind as Yaniv's, like, hate message, which is, like, as though the bad guys, like, that you're gonna find, like, if there's a bad guy among you, you're gonna discover them because they're gonna be going, like, mwah, ha, 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 in the corner. Like, no, they're gonna sincerely believe and tell you that they sincerely believe that they're good people. Like, you can't, like, trying to put motives on people or questioning the motives, like, that, you should only jump to that if, like, what people are saying doesn't make any fucking sense.
Right.
Otherwise,
yeah, but then Yaniv, he almost seems like he is, like, a bad guy then, like, because if, you know, in the same sense that he's trolling, he would have to be a bad guy, or, you know, to think what he's doing, or to, you know, to be doing what he's doing in the manner that he's doing it.
Yeah,
He is a racist. Like, we know that. Like, so that's a quote unquote fascist belief or whatever.
yeah. I think activists really end up shooting themselves in the foot by, um, I think most of the time that they're stupid enough to respond. They don't know anything about Yaniv, and they're just kind of like responding just kind of automatically on somebody criticizing a trans person. And so in their mind, like, okay, Ricky Gervais or Steven Crowder or whatever, they're criticizing this trans woman. So in like the liberal, just dumb, like doesn't know what's going on mind, they're like, oh, then there must be some reason that this trans person is actually right. Like this, because it's like so counter narrative.
Right.
That like a trans person's doing something bad.
Yeah. It's quite
Like,
incredible, yeah, that the narrative and ideology can be so powerful as to blind you from fucking Jonathan Yaniv's,
yeah.
transgressions against
Yeah.
women.
Well, and it's still the
Immigrants.
narratives. It's still on account of the narrative that the trans people and trans activists, I should say, who do know about Yaniv, have been kind of staying mum, other than Morgan Auger, who did finally write something, but I think that's because he's so involved in like the local scene that he kind of saw ahead that like this isn't going to go over well. But in general, activists have been pretty silent, because in their minds, if you were to share this and condemn it, then you're adding fuel to the narrative that trans women are all creepy perverts who,
Right.
And I think that there's...
And instead of, like, how like HSTS like get mad at like people like Yaniv for making them look like creepy perverts.
Yeah.
So like, why doesn't like the like everybody else like just follow that lead instead of getting mad at like the people who are just correctly identifying a creepy pervert?
Yeah, for real. Well, I mean, there's some logic to the fire, adding fuel to the fire that is like trans people are all creepy perverts, but I mean, you gotta weigh it. Like, which is worse for my cause? Like, admitting that there are problematic people among... But you know what? They can't, because then they would have to admit all the problems with self-ID.
Mm-hmm.
That the TERFs are right.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen, you do see trans people, like... It's crazy how fast they become, like, MRAs, where they're like, women commits, rape too. And
Right.
look at this list of female sex offenders. And we're like,
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, okay. Well, there's still like 4 times as many men in prison for sex offenses as there are just women in prison at all.
Right.
So, like, yeah, sure, a few exist. But that's like, they're kind of like, well, if a few exist, what's adding a few more? Like, oh God. Because they're not fucking female.
I don't understand. What happened to make we don't have like other intersecting identities that where like one just completely overrules, or shall I say invalidates the other. Transness, it completely erases femaleness. It
Yeah.
doesn't how is that not still like an oppressed identity or whatever that should count for something, that should be able to organize around it, even among people who think that trans women are women or whatever?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because like Mishfest, like they said, like, we believe that women born women is its own identity and experience, and this is a festival for them. Like, we have nothing against trans women. And people were like, nah, like losing their minds because Mishfest wasn't allowing trans women in.
It's because, and like, I mean, I can answer it easily. It's because of the male ego and this male need to be like included in everything, and just this disregard for women's spaces. This idea that women should be catering to them. It's not a hard answer to that question. It's just just a bleak one, and just like it's just a rhetorical question of just like, why can't they
Yeah.
see that,
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, it's weird because, like, people get themselves all wrapped up in the language thing. I think like, people get pissed at TERFs. Even just, like, people who kind of sympathize with TERFs get mad about, like, misgendering. But I don't think people realize how much the language, especially when you're not seeing people face to face, like, when you're not actually dealing with trans people, but you're just kind of, like, they're just sort of these like floating internet entities, and like the saddest, stories on Vice and stuff. Like, people have this vision of trans women that are a lot more female because they're using she and because they're using her. And the language stuff does start kind of making you think that trans women are female, that they are women, that they're just like, that they're all like as feminine as Blair White and passing. You know what I mean? Like, and so you kind of go like, well, if they're all like that, then it's weird to exclude them from anything. Because the only reason why they, in their minds, is like the only reason why they still have penises is because they can't afford to get them removed or whatever. Otherwise, they would all be like almost identical to women. And like, that's just not the reality. It's not at all. Blair White walks around this planet being treated like a woman, being treated like a particular kind of woman.
Yeah. But being treated like a woman is, of course,
the problem.
Its own construct.
Yeah.
And
well,
its
sure.
own, patriarchal construct.
My point is that if you assume that is the majority of trans women, which it's not, and you are like, just want to be like a nice liberal, by calling like fucking Charlotte Clymer and Action Ma'am and Jonathan Yaniv you're like applying you're like not allowing yourself to see them as men, and I guess that's the whole point.
Yeah.
But what about when they fucking actually are men? Like the language thing. Like, that's why TERFs are so strong on the language thing, and like, why they misgender. It's not to be rude. It's to keep us rooted in reality.
Somebody said what? The pronouns are like rohypnol. That's pretty dramatic, but it's not a bad metaphor.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you were to start calling Blair White he, and really thinking about how Blair White is like a gay man,
I almost do read Blair White as a gay man. Like,
so do I, but I think my brain can go back and forth on it. It really just depends on like. But I'm saying it really has to do with like, like the things that you. I don't want to get too far into it, but just like you've got this like base monkey brain, right? Like is doing all kinds of shit that you're not really aware of. And it kind of controls a lot of your emotions and a lot of your like fast judgments and stuff, like on is this person female or male? And it often affects what you think and what you say. But the reverse can be true too. That's what like cognitive behavioral therapy is kind of all about.
See, I don't think it's a monkey brain that does that. I think that's a constructed brain that treats somebody differently based on whether they're male or female. I think that
no, that's monkey brain.
I don't like that.
What that treatment entails would be what that treatment entails. It would definitely be. I mean, look, We reproduce sexually.
Yeah, but we don't necessarily do much of anything else sexually.
What do you mean? We have
Like,
sex for bonding.
no, I say like we don't necessarily do like.
No, we divide labor. We divide. Yeah.
Should we?
I mean, if labor requires like carrying things and fighting and like needing the certain things that are aided by high testosterone, obviously, when we talk about biology, we have to be talking about like, millions of years of evolution, but that doesn't need to be true in the future. Like, the best thing about humans is that we're more software than hardware. So we have these base desires and these base emotions and base fears. But we also have like all kinds of abilities to build society in different ways. But that's what I'm saying. Like, when you start using pronouns and stuff, you're kind of like, you're moving the. I mean, and obviously, this doesn't work for a lot of people. You see people tripping up all the time who are trying to begender people correctly and end up calling them dude or whatever accidentally, because a lot of people don't really buy it deep down in their soul.
Right. Well, as well they shouldn't.
As well they shouldn't.
I don't know if we're at a point where we know what's, sex and what's gender. And I think we need to err on the side of abolishing everything that even appears, somewhat gendered as such.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think we should too. But I also think we should accept that the possibility does exist that there will just be more men interested in becoming construction workers than women. And it's not a result of like, we're not encouraging women to be construction workers enough, or, construction sites are just too, inhospitable to women. Like, maybe women just they find that fucking boring. You know what I mean? Like, there are differences. I mean, not to say that no women want to go into construction, but when we see big gender gaps, we need to be able to. I think it's good. It's a good idea to poke around and ask so many questions, like, to doubt that it's just a result of, the sexes being different. But I think we might need to accept that sometimes it really, truly is that the sexes are different.
I was going to have to disagree there.
Well, but okay, back on Yaniv. You asked, is he in a wheelchair? Right. Yes, he's been riding around on like a rascal scooter.
It just gets more like that's absurd. Just so perfect. Just like, because it's just the exact kind of just like scam and just like like identity appropriation thing. The rest of it, it's just like what else is like he fucking about to do? Like, everybody saw you not using a rascal scooter, you fucking idiot, and you don't have a good like alibi as to like why you're doing it now. Like, cancer, brain tumor,
stroke,
like etc. Yeah, stroke. Just like he's just a terrible liar. However, I do want to say again that Yaniv is not like very go back to the very beginning when you said like he was trolling. Like, yeah, sure, he's trolling like in like a cruel way, as you say it now. But I also still think that just I recognize everything in those like tampon conversations. I recognize all that as, a man not knowing, to not talk about certain things with women because they think they're a woman now, and so that they're, like allowed to have these intimate conversations and, have it be pure even it like Yana, it's clear that Yaniv's motives are not pure in any sense, um, but that he himself might still think they're pure because he doesn't understand the depth of his libido, and just that how out of control he is of it, that he would be talking about that kind of stuff. um and he's like admitted like he has like a bunch of like fetishes in this
Mm-hmm.
sense, but like he it doesn't seem like he's like aware that he's like out of control sexually. um and that's like, yeah, that's the thing of it.
All right. Yeah. No, I guess, yeah. I mean, it's I think that's just two different ways of looking at the same thing. Like, you're maybe looking at it more from a male perspective, and I'm
Yeah,
looking at it more from a female perspective. But yeah.
sure. Well, also
Um
a trans perspective
and a
that I'm
trans
bringing to
perspective.
it. Yeah, that
For
I'm
sure.
not that that's
Um
different than male, just that
right. Well,
it's
it's different than general male, for
yeah,
sure.
just that I've specific in the same way that not all males are, fans of the band Rush or something. But no,
Weird.
just
Weird.
that, yeah, just that
Very specific.
I've witnessed this specific behavior in trans people. I've exhibited it, not to this extent, mind you, but
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Okay, so another thing we have to talk about with Yaniv is the topless pool party. Are you
oh, I don't remember this. I don't think. Go
Well,
ahead,
this
tell
is
people, what is
new.
it?
Okay, so um Yaniv so was supposed to go to the Township in British Columbia council last night. There is you can go to the Langley Township website and you can download the submission that Yaniv made. And Yaniv is asking specifically for the council to approve the local pool throwing an LGBTQ pool party for 12 and up, which would be topless, and specifically bar parents and caregivers from attending.
That
Um,
But it's stuff like this that makes me think he's not sincere. No child molester could be that dumb to like go ahead and like announce themselves so clearly. None of them. Like it's
well, that's why I think that, like, he's, the, I think that he enjoys being so blatant and
but then why is he
showing that
doing it?
because he's getting away with it and no one's arresting him, and it's just like, haha, look at what I can do, look what I can get away with. um
Oh,
but
you
I
might be
actually just
right.
want to read the text because
But like
if
even then, like I mean, like okay, like I think we all get a little bit of a kick out of getting away with stuff like that. But it's do
like
any of us
that.
do not, no, not like that exactly. I was about to say like we enjoy getting away with things, like plenty of people do, but getting away with like appearing to be a pedophile, like is that like that's
Well, I
not
mean,
normal,
obviously,
like
no, no, obviously it's not normal. We're talking about
is
like
he
some
really a
kind of
pedophile,
sociopath. Yeah, I think he's probably, yeah. What do they call it? Like a duper's delight.
I'm a duper's delight, what is that?
It's like, I don't know. You should Google it while I'm. Well, okay, so it's duper's delight is the pleasure of being able to manipulate someone, often made visible to others by flashing a smile at an inappropriate moment. Duper's delight happens when the person telling a fib cannot control their happiness over pulling the wool over someone's eyes. But anyway, so I just want to read the actual thing that Yaniv submitted. So, like, on the agenda, this is, like, not written by him. It's just written by the council. It's like, recommendation. Request by Jessica V. Yaniv to appear before council to discuss an all-bodies swim event at Township of Langley Civic Pools. And then what Yaniv submitted is topic, permission for LGBTQ2S plus organizations to be allowed to host an all-body swim at TOL Civic Pools for people aged 12 plus, where these events will be restricted to LGBTQ2S and individuals will be permitted to be topless at their leisure in compliance with the laws of Canada, and where parents and caregivers will be prohibited from attending these events as it's considered safe and inclusive.
Wow.
So it's like, really, like, it's not just like, oh, yeah, I don't know, it's just so fucking obvious. So what happened with that, though, is that it's unclear whether it was Yaniv himself or it was the council, but it was postponed until September for him to bring this up. I don't know if these pools run year round, but yeah, so they're not bringing it up. It's supposed to be brought up last night. I don't know how verified this is, but I did see some Twitter gossip from people who live in Langley Township, and they said that it wasn't clear if they were talking about Yaniv or if there was, like, somebody else who was doing this, but they said they went to Langley City and tried to get this done with the city, and the city approved, but there was so much public outcry that they just postponed it indefinitely.
What? No.
That's the Twitter gossip.
I don't believe that. That can't be true. That's like this idea. That's like how, like, just the horribly bleak idea that Yaniv might actually win the Human Rights Tribunal. Mm-hmm. That just can't happen, right? Like, everybody knows, like.
Well, what if they see it as, like, a precedent thing? Like, okay, sure, Yaniv is weird and creepy, but if we don't approve this, then it sets the precedent that, like, other services will be able to deny trans women, and we are a liberal, progressive paradise, and we must not allow that to happen, so fuck women. That's possible.
Yeah, that's possible. But is that? Do you think, like, that? I don't know. I don't think that could happen, because it has to be, like, like, individual, right? Or are human rights tribunals typically a little more collective than just the case at hand in their judgments? I don't know anything about it.
I don't know. So I just found, this is the Daily Caller, which, I mean, it's not, like, the greatest source, but
usable in this instance.
Yeah, it says an earlier all-body swim at Langley City Pool aimed at LGBTQ2S youth was canceled in early July due to objections on social media to its exclusion of parents and guardians. So yes, it's true. It did get approved. And so they're just trying it again a different way.
What? Like, who the fuck is stupid enough to approve something like that? They really do just, like, that. This is just like new heights and just peaking people. And it's peaking people, like, for LGBT-ness as well, because that's what, like, it's bringing down, like gays and lesbians. It's making them appear as disgusting as the trannies, by using, like, language like that.
Yeah, but, I mean that's the crazy thing, is, like, we're TERFs, we're hardcore TERFs, we've been in this scene, and like we're still running into things that, like, defy our beliefs. After everything that we've seen, we're still like, that can't be true, and then it's fucking true, and you're just like, I didn't know I could peak anymore, but here I am peaking.
Right.
Again.
I didn't know how high that, like, how this fucking
this peak
mountain goes.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I've been climbing for so long.
But this is new as of like 3 hours ago. A 15-year-old alleged victim of Jessica Yaniv, Jonathan Yaniv, speaks out and has confirmed that she has filed a child exploitation report against Yaniv with CyberTip on the end of incidents. I don't know what CyberTip. It's some Canadian thing.
All right.
We'll see where that goes.
Does Yaniv have a fucking job? Because it seems like this is all he does. He puts all his energy into this shit. Maybe
well, I mean,
he's an activist, I suppose, in the sense that he's like pulling all this fucking scammer shit for the cause of invading women's spaces.
So he was working as a consultant, like a tech consultant for a while. I don't know how much work he got, but he did seem kind of involved. I mean, he seems to have
Twitter.
Exactly, he seems to have some connections. I think that likely at this point he's like living with his mom. He's got his website looks really flashy. So I'm sure he's able to dupe some people into like sending him free headphones and shit like that for reviews. And then he has had a lot of lawsuits. Like, this isn't his first run of like litigiousness. He's sued people before for bullshit.
Right.
And I think won some settlements. And
about what?
I think one of them is like, I don't know, something like not slipping and falling. There was like 3 or 4 other things of just stupid, I don't know.
I got my settlement money from slipping on pee-pee at the Costco.
Yeah.
I just want to know, like, at this point, like, is he a genius or is he like a retard? Like,
he's not. I don't think he's. I think he must be pretty smart. Honestly,
I think he's
like intelligent.
I think he's probably deep down like a legit, just hateful, just MRA. He's doing like advanced Steven Crowder drag. Like, I think
no.
I don't know. I like it is hard to tell because like he fits a lot of trans molds, but there are some where he's just beyond the pale, and like you can only think of him as like some kind of like just neo activist scammer. But like for do we think that Yaniv understands that trans rights are men's rights?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I think he doesn't think about other trans people either. That's the thing. This is not a person who gives a shit about any wider cause than himself.
That's probably
so
true.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I have to say, honestly, with the Yaniv thing, like, I'm really glad that the publication ban has been lifted and now, like, men can start speaking out about this.
Will they?
And, well, I mean...
Ricky Gervais, right?
Yeah, Ricky Gervais. So far, it's been only right-wing, for the most part. I think, like, India Willoughby said, I think this person is an oddball.
I don't know.
Thanks, India. India Willoughby is a trans woman in the UK who is semi-famous, I guess. They were on Big Brother. They tried to kiss Genuine. Do you remember Genuine?
I remember Genuine.
And then Genuine didn't want... Genuine, said no, and then was, like, blasted for being transphobic.
Oh, yeah.
But whatever. But otherwise, this has been pretty much ignored by the left-wing media, and I just think that is such a gift to Trump and to the right. I really think that, like we talked about last time with millennials losing their their love for LGBT.
Mhm.
Not millennials, sorry, Gen Z.
No, it was millennials.
It
Gen
was
Z probably doesn't have that much love for LGBT already.
Right, exactly. So, like, younger millennials and Gen Z, you know, like, we're just pushing them into the right. So, good job, Democrats, liberals, mainstream media, fucking idiots.
Yaniv. Like, I mean, not just the did I want to know if Yaniv thought that trans rights were men's rights, but is he a right-wing ideologue that he, you know, wants to hurt women's rights? Because he's hurting immigrants already with this.
Yeah.
But does he think that, like, immigrants are, you know, homophobic or transphobic or something? Like, or is this part of a scheme? And it has to be a scheme too, because, like, of just, like, all the like the wheelchair and the brain tumor shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, it's when we say scheme, it's like, yeah, I guess you can scheme if you're nuts, right? If you're totally nuts, you can still scheme. So yeah, right? Like, I mean, that's, I don't know. It's breaking my brain, honestly. I mean, obviously he hates women. Obviously. Obviously he hates immigrants. He has a low opinion of all people who are not himself and who are not like him. But I also, you know, what a gift to the right, too, with all this shit.
Yeah.
Because he's also Jewish.
Oh, yeah? Oh,
like,
yeah.
his parents seem like are from Israel or something. So...
yeah. It's such a gift to the right that, like, this is what I'm thinking, that, like, it feels intentionally rightist.
I don't know. I mean, I think that sometimes life is stranger than fiction.
Can't make this stuff up.
So, yeah, I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to see. I don't know when those tribunals make their, like, issue their verdicts or what have you. I mean, we're gonna just have to come back and update on that. I don't know what happens. Like, I don't know what happens next on this. I don't know if we should, like, throw tampons at the, like, pride parade if this gets, you know, like, how do we protest if this does get I mean, obviously the fact that it was even allowed to get to the point that it is, even if the member, which is what they call the judges, even if the member rules in the favor of the estheticians, the fact that 5 of them have already had to close their doors, and that they could even be inconvenienced by this legal process, is obviously unfair.
It's just,
but
if,
I mean, I know people were like, their minds were fucking blown when Trump was elected, and I have to say I was kind of surprised too, because I thought, like,
I was surprised.
Do we not see that he's quite a bit of a grifter? But I could also see that lots of people liked him, so, you know. And I could see that the left had been shitting on, you know, rural America for a long time. Like, it was surprising. It was disheartening.
It was counter narrative, but it was also part of the narrative at the same time.
Right, exactly. And then also it was surprising because all the pollsters had just been telling us, like, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. I don't know how I'm going to feel if the tribunal rules in Yaniv's favor. Like, I don't know how I'm going to deal.
Obviously.
Well, yeah, but I don't know how I'm going to, like, I just think I'm going to feel so hopeless. Like, like, they saw him in the flesh, they saw how crazy he was, he brought his mother, and they saw how crazy his mother was, and they saw how this affected women, poor women, immigrant women, and they were still like, nope, siding with the man.
Is he in contempt of court yet?
He should be. I don't know if they have that. I think they're just like trying to be just that classic Canadian niceness.
Ugh. But
Tolerance.
yeah, like it's just like fascinating is, I mean, it would be the word to use, even though like it's just so awful. But just like there are so many implications to this entire story. Like, it is the defining story of the gender war, I think. Just like, I mean, I don't know, maybe there's some that like encapsulate, specific conflicts better, but just the breadth of conflict in this one, and just like, just how much it defines people's ignorance when it comes to wokeness. That's I think a key tenet of wokeness is ignorance, because it is just ideological dogma, to the extent, identitarian dogma, to the extent that like you can get somebody like Yaniv and still side with them just because of their fucking identity. And it's okay, you've got like instances like like where, I don't know, let's say black man kills white people. Okay, there's historical precedent to say that there might be even some kind of justice in that. But for this, for a self-defined identity, none of that applies anymore.
So, yeah, I don't think women have been the ones oppressing or murdering or killing trans women. I'm sure we can be mean girls. I'm sure lots of women were very, mean.
They looked at me funny.
Right, exactly. It's just like that Atwood quote. Like, men are afraid that women will laugh at them. Women are afraid that men will kill them.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I guess we'll keep track of this. We'll find out what happens. It's so I don't know. What's your prediction? You predict that they're not going to approve it, or like they're not going to side with him?
I think I predict that they're not going to side with him. I think it's too ridiculous. There's no way, right? Remember, like, how, like that other thing got canceled, right? They know he's a racist, right? So how could they possibly approve this when he's a racist? That I think is what it's going to come down to. There's no way they can do it. No way. At some point, somebody has to say, at least, trans women can be bad people too, or something. Right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's like the best that I'm seeing. I'm going to predict that the hearing is going to side with Yaniv, but like in some things, but not all things. Like, it's going to be kind of like a mixed results thing, that the member is going to see as like a compromise, but is still going to be shitty.
You're hedging your bet.
I'm hedging my bets, and I can't, like, Yaniv at this point is like also suing like the lawyers themselves and asking for all these like, even within the legal process, Yaniv is going like really, really, really crazy. So I don't think that it's at all possible for Yaniv to be sided with 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that
mostly in the balls waxing case is what we're interested
right.
in.
We're talking about the balls waxing case. I don't. Yeah, the fucking swimming thing isn't going to be approved. It's probably going to be, or maybe they'll approve it, but it'll be for like 16 and over, which will be like slightly better than 12 and over, but still. I mean, it's a little bit better.
Wow.
Because 16-year-olds don't go anywhere with caretakers anyway. It's a bit of hedging my bets, but it's also just like preparing myself that I'm going to be angry and I'm going to be mad and I'm going to think that it's unfair and there's not going to be anything that I can do about it.
Yeah.
So,
have we decided whether or not Yaniv is like some kind of like right-wing plant, some kind of right-wing troll, or if he's
his history goes too far back.
Interested in trans rights?
Neither is true. He is sincerely interested in his rights. Not his rights, but his desires.
He doesn't have any kind of, you think he has like no kind of broader ideological desires at all in what he's doing?
No, he's pretty young, but he does remind me a lot of middle-aged AGPs, and they only take what's useful to them. They don't care about the broader thing. They just want to like put on their stockings and take photos and shit. Like they haven't adopted a fully like comprehensive ideology to excuse their fetish.
I don't know, because it just feels like he's been speaking so much in terms of ideology that it feels like he has to have some idea about it. Now, I understand AGPs will say, like, trans women won't be erased, and just, like, the really broad shit like that. But there's just something so granular about Yaniv's understanding of the gender war. He seems either, like, just the worst trans woman of all time, or an incredibly shrewd, like, psyop.
Yeah, I don't know. I believe that his history goes really far back.
Toward what, like just scamming people?
Scamming people, harassing women, litigiousness.
Who's to say that he's not now scamming in the name of trans rights? Like he says he is,
No, he totally is. I don't think that he's not going to change any of his behaviors on behalf of trans rights, right? Like he's found something that allows him to do what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
If they stop doing that, he's not going to change his behavior. So, and that's what I think. Like, if you sincerely hold some kind of thing about, like, some kind of ideology, some broader thing, like, you're going to act in a way that the group has decided is like, tactically important, or
I don't know,
or whatever. You're going to change your behaviors in support of the group. And I just think that even if all the trans women, popular, famous trans women turned around and said, Jessica, we believe you're a trans woman, or we believe you're a real woman, but you got to stop doing that.
Karen, you're forgetting how individualistic trans issues are, how individualistic
in the first place
gender ideology is.
It's true. But in so much as people do have some kind of class analysis of transness, So, yeah, I mean, it's individual anyway, so, yeah, I'm right still. So, never mind.
What?
I just don't think that Yaniv feels any particular solidarity real, sincere solidarity with other trans
Well, I don't know
women.
if he doesn't need to still have, you know, like a trans activist idea.
I guess that's it for episode 8, lucky 8.
I guess we didn't get down to, you know, what Yaniv really is, but that's, you know, what keeps so interesting.
I mean, it remains to be seen. I think. Well, okay. There's 2 things that I did not look at, but I have, and I probably should have done that
Very briefly.
before I did this. One is he called into an Irish radio show and then hung up in the middle of the interview after questions were asked. And I didn't get to listen to that. And the other thing was somebody somehow has a recording of one of the hearings.
Oh, yeah?
And I did not get to listen to that. Both things were like over 10 minutes long, and
Yeah, maybe we'll just like install a Yaniv update segment though.
I swear, we should just do that, because it's just going to keep coming up.
But yeah, we need to.
Alright. We're done.